As the struggle of the Cuban people continues, I led several of my colleagues, many standing here with me today, in demanding Secretary Blinken take decisive measures in support of the Cuban protesters. The time for roundtable discussions and empty words are over. It's time for President Biden and Secretary Blinken to grow a spine and keep their commitment to freedom and democracy. Mr. President, Mr. Secretary, here's how you can do it. Condemn the communist Cuban regime for their decades of oppression. Condemn the communist Cuban regime for any acts of violence against protesters, which we've already seen. Condemn the evils of communism that has led to the misery, the poverty, the stifled basic and fundamental human rights. Support the mission of the protesters in Cuba, which includes establishing free and democratic elections, release of all political prisoners, and the establishment of a free and independent press. Commit the United States to continuing the policy of maximum pressure and applying more pressure to the communist illegitimate Cuban regime until fundamental democratic reforms take hold. Establish by any means necessary internet connection and technology. And as my colleagues have previously stated, that's of vital importance for the people of the Cuban people to be able to communicate with themselves, and just as important for them to be able to communicate with the outside world, what's actually happening in Cuba, their daily lives, the oppression of the Cuban people by their own government. On a personal note, I emigrated to this country with my family when I was a young boy, just 6 years old. I lived through the indoctrination curriculum in elementary school. I witnessed my birth country crumble to the woes of communism. Luckily, my family and I had the opportunity to immigrate to this great country. You know, in just one generation, my family went from Cuba to Congress. I believe with all my heart and soul that in no other country in the world is that achievement possible. For that reason, I will always stand firmly on the side of those who yearn for freedom and democracy. It's time for Biden and Blinken to be on the side of those who yearn for freedom too. And I ask for them, please, please support the freedom fighters in Cuba and urge their unwavering support of freedom and democracy, not only in Cuba, but in Venezuela and Nicaragua and all parts of the world, especially in our own hemisphere. And to the Cuban people, our message is we stand with you, we will always stand with you, and we won't give up until one day we see a free Cuba.